Yes. Hello, Julia. Oh, you're on. Oh, sorry, you're on mute. Let me just make sure that.
Oh, here I am.
There we
Hi,
go.
everybody. Hi, nice to meet you. I want to make sure that our VP of People and Experience is definitely unmuted and on video as well, Romaine. So if you could make sure that Elaine McAnally is activated, that would be great.
Absolutely.
She has a great presentation that she's going to be sharing with you today on behalf of Pure SunFarms. She's going to line up a little bit about what it's like to be working at Pure SunFarms, as well as who we are as an organization, what we're all about. We'll be sharing a list of our current job openings right now. So I'm sure many of you are looking forward to asking us questions about those openings, asking a little bit more about what it's like to work at Pure SunFarms. And so we're really looking forward to sharing that with you as well. So do you have Elaine lined up there, Romaine?
Let me just see. I'm trying to find her in a list. Hold on. I'm sure I saw. And I'm pretty sure I saw her earlier today.
Oh yeah, she's been watching all day. So I'm just gonna.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, so she really has been enjoying the panelists. I know she is online right now because she was watching the panelists right before this, and she was really enjoying their presentation as well. So sorry for the delay. Just want to make
It's my fault.
Well, while you're finding the information and our missing person, I'm sure we will find her.
Yes, certainly. So if there's any, I guess, low-hanging fruit or any questions that maybe I can help facilitate to help start us off a little bit, as Romaine, you let us know when you find her in that list. Oh, there she is.
Well, exactly, but she was under your name as well. There was another Julia, so I was sorry, I was confused.
That's okay.
There we go.
There we go. Hi, Elaine.
Oh, hello.
I will pass it over to Elaine. Sorry about that. And even though her name says Julia, her name is Elaine. So for asking questions, feel free to direct them over to Elaine.
That's why for some reason. Okay, floor over to you.
Bye, everyone.
Let me update this here. There we go.
Perfect.
We have Alicia on here as well.
Alicia's recording the whole event today.
Okay, nobody else can see it. Got it. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me and thank you for hosting this. I have been tuning in all day. Really great discussions. I'm not sure how to follow the one that you just had. It was very entertaining. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Just give me 1 second. Okay, can everyone see the presentation okay? Yep, okay. Let's go. Sorry, 1 second. No. Okay. Okay, so it's end of the day. I know you guys have had a long day. Hopefully I'll try to get through this. Would love to answer questions most of the time. Hopefully you've heard about us. So Pure SunFarms, who are we? We are one of Canada's largest single site licensed producers of cannabis in a greenhouse grown. And so we are located here in BC's Fraser Valley in Delta, if you guys aren't aware. So not too far from just kind of Vancouver general area. I would say in Delta, what I've learned since being out here is that it is one of the sunnier locations within Vancouver. Anywhere it could be raining, you kind of make your way out to delta, and for some reason there's always more sun. So it makes sense. That's where all the farms are. So there you go. I learned something. We are cannabis enthusiasts, growers at heart. That's kind of the history that we come with, driven by the love of plants and dedicated to those who share the same passion. So just a little breakdown of our name. You know, Pure, obviously that single-minded passion for growing BC bud. It's using the power of the sun to help our high-tech greenhouse. And really our background is deep farming roots. So the location that we are at used to grow tomatoes. And so our growers who have been at that site really understand kind of the climate, the conditions, and have a lot of knowledge about growing in the Fraser Valley. And so cultivation experience, I touched a little bit on top of that. We are growing cannabis at scale. And if you haven't heard or have read before, we are 1.1 million square feet. And then we do have a second site that is available to us. We are a mix of legacy cannabis cultivators, as well as obviously our head of growing. He just comes from farming. He's grown tomatoes for a really long time, but has also dabbled in cannabis prior. And I touched a little bit on the ideal location in terms of the Fraser Valley. It's the ideal climate and growing conditions. It's the best in Canada. I think everyone would agree in one way, shape, or form, BC has a reputation for BC bud, and I think world famous. I think a lot of people have heard about BC bud, so we really pride ourselves on that. And our modern greenhouse. So, you know, 1.1 million square feet when I first joined. Obviously, I've seen the site, so it's a very large facility, but to help some of those who may not really understand how big it is, it's about 19 football fields big. So we have precise control of growing conditions. That's kind of where the high tech comes in. It's a 24-hour app-based technology to monitor light, water, airflow, all of that fun stuff. And really with all the different rooms, the different strains that we have ability to control climate. So a little bit of why I'm here talking to you guys today, and obviously why CanMar is putting together this great event. It's about, for me, plants and people first. Our mission at Pure SunFarms is really putting this at the forefront. You know, we focus on creating opportunities for anyone and everyone who share a passion for growing. Especially lately, we've had a lot of talk, and this morning around diversity and inclusion. And it was really about making sure that we create an environment that will be open and welcoming to those who are curious about the industry. I don't come from the industry. My background is predominantly in tech and retail in Vancouver. So I have the high growth part, the hyper growth. What I bring with myself is, you know, the climb of Hootsuite in their heyday of hyper growth. It was really crazy growing globally, to retail when it comes to supply chain e-commerce. I was part of my background. A lot of it is in technology, is transformation. Most recently, bringing, you know, a very old organization into the modern age and how they continue evolving their organization as well as their technology to kind of match what's going on in the market. So that's the background that I come with. And, you know, when I first came into this industry, it was a lot of learning. It was trial by fire a lot of the times, but it was also being humble to get to know and respect, you know, this industry and what it's done, and how do you continue to bring that to light, and then also bring in new people to see kind of the opportunities, and so much going on. There's so many learnings that it's a very volatile industry, but it's actually a really exciting, challenging industry if you're of a curious mind to constantly learn. So through and through, committed to building an inclusive culture that we can all be proud of. We are a diverse team connected by our values, working towards the same goal. Recently, you know, with all of the news going on and the pandemic, we did a lot of inquiring within our company. A lot of our next steps that came from it is employee led. We did a survey to really understand what our people were feeling and what they thought as a brand we would lean into. So lots of conversations happening, but really happy, you know, to say that we've come up with an action plan in terms of, you know, just looking at talking about a diverse team. I think we are, just some stats from what we pulled together, we are 67% representative of people of color at our organization. And, you know, great beginnings. We have great diverse backgrounds, even at the executive level, which I'm really happy about. More work, lots of work to be done still, but I think we're starting from a really great place. So talking a little bit of values, this is something we lean into a lot. And, you know, a lot of the conversations during the pandemic, especially from a cultural perspective, was how have your values kind of brought you through the situation or the crisis that you're in? And I'm happy to say that, you know, this has kind of gone through a bit of the test, and luckily stands true to what we do, how we do things, and it's just guided us every day. So our values conveniently spell out heart, but humility is our first and foremost value, acting with kindness and respect. So this is something that is tied really closely with empathy around seeking to understand and gain perspective. When we talk to people and interview people, that's really the approach that we take. You could come with a whole lot of experience or very little experience in a particular field or an area that we're looking into. What we actually want to really dig into is the fact that, you know, whether you come with a lot of experience or not, you come with a true passion and curiosity of learning. Because as much as I have done HR and in the people field for, you know, 15 plus years, it has just completely, you know, taught me to reimagine everything that I've learned. I think everything that I have learned has played into a really great foundation. Lots of things to lean into for examples, but you know, I think coming into this industry, it's such a mix of different roles, different, you know, the fact that it's so highly regulated. There's just all of these different factors that make you reimagine what the situation is. And, you know, instead of leaning to what you know automatically, it's like, hey, maybe there's a new way to do it. And I think that's been the fun part. Accelerate, so we move quickly with intention. This part here really talks to the philosophy as well of how we approach things. It's, you know, Pure SunFarms, we're a big LP, but we haven't shown up as much, you know, alongside the others that, you know, we would be in that ballpark of the likes of Canopy or Aurora. We have taken a crawl, walk, run mentality around how we approach things. A lot of our strategy and what we rolled out is talking to our people about taking a brand-led approach. We take a lot of care in our brand. Pure SunFarms, we show up as that as our company name. Pure SunFarms shows up as our brand for consumers. So we took that approach that we wanted to lead with our brand. And then another part when you talk about, you know, plants and people is that for plants, it's a flower first approach. Get the quality, you know, we are growers at the end of the day. So, you know, everyone talks about these 2.0 products. Where are we on that map? It's like, we're getting our flower right, because anything that comes after that will be great. So just a bit of the mentality around accelerate is that we may put time into figuring out what's right for us, but when we do figure out what's right for us, we move quickly with intention. Reliable, we deliver on our promises. I think this is a very customer consumer focused statement for us. What we say we do, we want to make sure it's reflective in what they experience. And then at the end of the day, the value for team, it's just the giant hug around everything is that we support each other and achieve together. I think some days we all feel like we're running in different directions, but I think the key thing here is to remember that we hold hands while we're running. So a lot of these key values were created at the beginning of, you know, when I first joined the team, we brought in a consultant who actually was one of the early employees of Lululemon, and how they created their values and how that stands kind of the test of time. And so far, I think it's just something that people really resonate with at Pure SunFarms. Job opportunities, I think that's what we're all here to see. This is just taken from our website, so you can easily find it. We have more that are coming up that we have yet to post. And then in general, my team is just always talking to people. I think whether we have a job officially posted or not, we have always been open to making connections, understanding people's story, and you know, if there's a fit, we're opportunistic as well. We don't see it as, hey, unless there's a job description, then we don't have a role. We're always open to talking to people, and yeah, love meeting new faces and new stories that can contribute to ours. So all of this you can find on our site. And then I guess if we can get into some questions. Yeah.
Perfect. So Elaine, do you what you can do is you can check the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. There's a couple of questions out there.
Okay, 1 second. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, here we go. Still looking for a manufacturing engineer? If so, what are you looking for in skills? It's still posted. Yes, we're looking for a manufacturing engineer. We're looking for various engineers. So I wouldn't get into the specifics, like if this is something that you're interested in, have experience or not. I think we've been open to speaking with different types of engineers. So a couple of things that are going on, just to give you the landscape, is our engineers under engineering and construction, we recently are just wrapping up the final phases of what we call Area 51. It's our post-processing area. So much, there's an extraction area. There are lots of machines when it comes to packaging, pre-rolls, and milling, and so much. So in terms of a process engineer, manufacturing engineer, I think even a packaging one, we have a lot of variety. I would say just get in touch with us. We will give you a contact for that, and we can chat. Carrie Campbell, with the last company doing mass layoffs, different that is now. Oh, great question. Yeah, it has been a very interesting landscape to sit here and constantly see layoffs. With my background from tech, I have been part of that tech bubble, and more specifically, back then it was more of that gaming tech bubble that had exploded here in Vancouver. What I would have loved to do was connect people during these mass layoffs and worked with these companies to help them find roles. But this industry has been very, with the big LPs, it's been really hard to connect with them. But what are we doing differently? That's your actual question. Like I said, we were a crawl, walk, run mentality. We did not go out there and hire anyone and everyone just because we had funding, we had things to do. We were very strategic in how we approach things. Pure SunFarms right now, in terms of the employee size, we are just over 100. That does not include greenhouse workers and our laborers that we work with, a third party. So on that side of things, we have upwards of anywhere between 300 to 400 working in our greenhouse. It's a large facility. But yeah, I'm really humble and appreciative to say that during this pandemic, we haven't had to lay off anyone. And we were very mindful. We wanted to make sure that people were employed during this time. It was a difficult time, but I think at the end of the day, in terms of the future and how to not have this happen again, we've always been mindful from the start. We aren't about, having been in a hypergrowth environment, growth for the sake of growing without clear direction and strategy is not something our team is behind. So I think we've been very clear with making sure where we invest and where our strategy and where we'd like to grow. So hope that answers your question, Gary. Any opportunities for someone in retail merchandising and store ops background? Absolutely. For me, I think having come from a retail background, there are so many skills in the retail merchandising and store ops that can be so applicable in any type of environment other than just being in retail. So absolutely, Alyssa, we would love to hear from you if you're interested. So I think I've seen this question before. Do you have direct consumer retail strategy that you can share? So we've been building out our commercial team. It's quite small right now, but obviously recently, we have BC, Alberta, Ontario. I think Manitoba was recent, or Saskatchewan. So we've brought on new provinces probably in the past month that we need to really focus on. Can we go direct to consumer? That's not as much as of a people question, which I'm probably not the best person to answer this, but I know for us, it's being creative in how we can, at the end of the day, reach the consumer easier. That's what I would say. I love regarding Val. Oh, thank you. Any sales or territory manager postings coming up for Ontario? Absolutely. If so, what kind of? So I'm just going to say in terms of Ontario, our director of commercial is actually based out of Ontario. We are based in BC. Our office is on site in Delta. But in Ontario, we do have a WeWork space and currently looking to grow that team. So absolutely, we have roles in commercial out in Ontario. So please reach out to us. We're looking for help. Absolutely. And then Ricardo, thanks for on the corporate side. So project management, product management, business strategy. Yes, yes, yes. So absolutely. We were recently talking about roles on the product management side, business strategy. That one is a big overarching bucket. But what I would say is that there may be roles that are applicable in that area that is more specific to a certain team. So yeah, if Ricardo, if you're interested, I would definitely reach out to us. I did see one earlier before I even came on. It was a question about regulatory and compliance. I do want to answer that question because it could seem confusing. It was that role is based within risk and compliance, which sits within finance in our organization, so separate from QA. And the reason why this role is within risk and compliance, it's solely focused on how we do our own internal audits. So we audit ourselves, basically. we care. And so that's the purpose of it sitting within finance, risk and compliance. We do have a separate QA department, and so that one is a standalone on its own. So I do want to make that distinction.
Awesome, Elaine. Thank you so much for your time. Great questions. Again, we'll be sharing your info and Julia's as well for more questions that are coming, and also for resumes coming your way. Well, thank you again for your time today. I'll just end up your presentation very quickly with this picture of Katie, actually, loving to ride the bike down to your
I love that. You should have said something. We could have let you in. You could have come say hello.
It was a Saturday or a Sunday at about 7 or 6:30. It was pouring rain, and yeah, just wanted to take a picture.
Look at you. Well, good for you for braving the weather and getting a ride in. That is amazing. That is a lot of respect.
Got some great facilities. Every time I cross that place, I always look and I always wave to nobody but the facility, saying, "Hey, hats off. Here's a sleep. You guys are doing a great job." So yeah, good stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Elaine.
Yeah. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you,
Talk to you soon. Bye, Elaine. Bye, Julia. Thank you so much.